What is it, girl? You want Mom to vote for a pet-safe dog park? Okay, let's go tell her right now. Mom, can you vote for a pet-safe dog park?
Well, sure I can. How do I vote? Thanks, Penny. That's easy. I just go to www.petsafe.net and vote for LaGrange, Georgia in the Bark for Your Park contest. And I can vote every day on Facebook, too. I'll vote right now.
Hey, what's all the ruckus?
Penny wants a dog park, and we can give her one. You can vote every day, twice a day, on the PetSafe website and the PetSafe Facebook page.
Hand me that thingamajig and I'll vote now too. Woo-hoo, doggy.
Welcome to Tech Savvy. My name is Leigh Newman, and I am the Executive Director of the Campus Operations for West Georgia Tech in LaGrange. And we have a very informative meeting today. We are lucky to have Jim Biaggi, who is the Industrial Maintenance Systems Instructor for the LaGrange campus, and many of you know him because he's been in lots of industries and done a lot of work for West Georgia Tech and other areas. And to get started on this, I want to make sure that everybody knows we've got lots of exciting future plans ahead of us, but to get to the future, we want to talk about what's going on now in our Industrial Systems Department. And Mr. Biaggi, thank you so much for joining me today.
As always.
I do enjoy having you here because we have such a good time talking about what's going on in your area.
Right.
In fact, I've decided when I retire, I'm going to take your classes, okay?
As soon as you finish that PLC class, we'll get you in.
We'll get me in. I promise I'll pass that.
Okay.
I want to know what's going on in your area. I think you have got a lot of exciting things going on. You've got some really good students. You've got some great plans for your graduates.
Right, we do. Yeah.
I would just love to, and I want to know about updates in any of your curriculum that you've got going on.
Well, let's see. A couple of years ago, when we went from quarters to semesters, we combined a couple of the classes that prior to the conversion, we had 10-week sessions. Now we have 16. So I thought, well, we'll double up on some of them. For example, fluid power has hydraulics, pneumatics, and of course industrial pump systems and piping systems. We put those three together, and after a couple of years we found out, boy, that was just a little bit too much. So one of the changes that's going to come up is we're going to pull pumps and piping out as a separate class because it involves more than just water. It's everything from wastewater to mastics and all that. So that will become a separate class again to do justice to that, and then we'll be able to cover everything we need to do in pneumatics and hydraulics as well. The rest of the classes, one of the neat things is we've offered more and more of the electronic area classes in the industrial maintenance, so they give them more choices, and most of them are gravitating toward that being, because the more electronics you have is going to be the future, programmable logic controllers and process control and all that. And also the advantage of that is when you graduate in industrial mechanical systems with your 5 basic electrical classes, if you want to take 2 to 3 more, then you also end up with the electrical control system. So that's good. We have people doing that right now. We had a good number of graduates this year, had 14. It was kind of interesting because they all started at kind of different times. Some of the students can come 1 or 2 nights a week, and some can come all the time, and they all started in fairly different semesters, but it all coalesced. We have 14 graduates in industrial mechanical systems and 2 in electrical control systems this past spring, and 2 in the electronics associate degree in technology.
Wow.
Really good.
So
One male, one female.
The associate's degree, that includes the English and
Right,
the
you have
computer
the
classes. And
right. You have when the associate, you have a humanities class and all that. We've also had a recent success in one of our graduates that took our program, and also an automotive associate finished his bachelor's and also just received a Hatton Lovejoy for graduate school. He works for Kia.
And so he's in automotive, but he took the mechanical system?
He was in the one that I taught in automotive technology, the one we had for a while during the Kia startup.
Okay,
and,
okay.
And it did really well. So I'm really proud of him. He came by the other day to tell me that he did get the scholarship.
Well, so did they transfer to our information in all our classes?
Oh yes, they really did. And that's how he earned
Where did he get his bachelor's
degree.
from?
At Southern Poly.
Southern
Yeah,
Poly. Well,
right.
that's exciting.
And he's going to go in a graduate program as
At
well.
Southern Poly?
Southern Poly, Kennesaw.
Kennesaw.
Yeah, so.
That's exciting. So
Right.
that's something that, of course, it sounds like to me it's right what industries are asking for today. They
Right.
need them today.
Right.
Or really
Oh.
last week.
Oh, every day. I mean, we got one. I mean, I must have gotten 4 calls last week. One from Kia, one from Knopf down in the valley. We got Mando. I mean, everybody. We have people. We have students at almost every plant. I mean, have students at Seiwan, have students at Duracell, have students at the Jindal, Trinidad Benham, all of them. It's not all just the automotive. Well, there's a good number of them there.
Right. We've
so,
got a manufacturing up and down the west side of
yeah.
Georgia, and we feel that as much of that need, because what our big issue is, we can't get the students. We can't get enough students in.
Well, we always welcome more and more,
Right.
and more of them too. So I think, and like one of our best students, because she knew so much math, was really fortunate. We will be working with Duracell, one of our associate graduates. I mean, and she's helpful to all the other students because she's had so much. Like I said, the more math you know,
The better.
you start. And that's why we have the Alex program. Even if you're, no matter where you start, you can always run through, build yourself all the way up. It's kind of neat to always see somebody who doesn't have the confidence that they realize they have until they get in there and realize, wait a minute, I know how to do
all
this.
this. It's like the light bulb comes on.
So it's good. Of course, my goal is always to shorten that little break. I was once asked a couple of years back if we get high school graduates, and I said, yes, we do, when they're 26. Because they, instead of coming on. So I think that's one of the advantages of our new articulation with the Think Academy. It's going to be, and then move on up, and we can provide them. We have to realize that students are pretty well equipped. They know a little bit more than I did, certainly, when
About
I was
computers?
18 and all that. Yeah. So I think whatever they're ready for, we need to move them on into that, accelerate it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. With our working with so closely with Think, because now with them being in our facility, y'all have a huge open door between your industrial lab and
Right.
their mechatronics lab.
Right.
So those students in high school that are going to be taking those mechatronic classes are going to look right into yours and see what the next step would be when they graduate. So can you explain just basics, how the progression will work?
I think
What will they learn in high school, and then how will it benefit them?
I think they'll learn the basics. Any of the manual part of what they call their mechatronics, the hands-on, if they haven't played with tools and all that before, they'll get familiar with all of that. They could actually reach a point to approach what we do now in our basic courses, and then we can go on way on beyond even what we do now.
Right.
And especially all this instrumentation, process control, and all of the more sophisticated things that actually in industry, and with trainers that match industry. Not toys. I mean, real,
Right.
same
But
same
they're
components
getting
and all
some
that.
serious
Yeah.
equipment in there, and
Right.
so they're going to learn what hydraulics is, and
Right.
what pneumatics is, and what a PLC can do,
Right.
and things like that. That's the basics. Now they'll show them how it works and give
Right.
them a basic elementary version of it.
Right.
But that will be such a benefit to them when they move up to your certificate programs or your diploma programs.
Right. And we do have certificate. We have 5 major offerings in LaGrange. We have a certificate in industrial electrician.
And that's
They'll learn
AC, DC,
AC,
and
DC, and really learning the industrial wiring and the NEC code.
Okay.
Where you may not memorize the book, but you'll know where to find it in an NEC book.
Right.
All right. Then, and those are good if they want to go ahead and continue in either electrical or mechanical. See, all the industrial the industrial has to have industrial mechanical systems is the second offering, and in that you have to have AC, DC, motor controls, motors, and introduction to PLCs. So those are 5, and then you can pick any number of other, 2-wire controls. It's a whole lot of list of electives you can take. So we have, like I said, the industrial electrical certificate. We have industrial mechanical systems diploma, industrial electrical systems diploma, and most students are dual majored in those. Then we have the pure electronics diploma, and then the electronics technology degree, associate degree. So those are the 5 major ones that we have right now.
Right. Well, an industry will say, I need somebody to put in as my technician or put it at the entry level position. What is something that you would suggest that they use as a part of a screening product?
Well, industrial mechanical and electrical at minimum. If you've had the industrial mechanical, that means you have had AC, DC motors and motor controls, and you know not to stick a screwdriver in, you know to get the right person before you mess in an area where you're not. Same way with pumps and piping. You know all of that, but you do not touch anything steam because that's a specialty. See, so they know what they do. What I'll encourage the students is don't go in there in your second semester in school and act like, oh, I've had all this, because you're going to be found out real quickly.
Yeah.
And so, I really appreciate, and here's what I really like. I like the industries that work with me who say, we want this student to continue the program. You help them get that position, and they might have to change shift. And we're very flexible on that because they can come at night if they missed in the day. But I don't like them to get there and get a little money in their pocket and then go like, well, I know everything. I'm not, so it's a mixed bag. You don't want to lose them to that, and they're more valuable if they've already finished.
Right.
So that's it. And I have to say this before I forget it. We have several military, and if you have on the form, if there are a lot of those credits, especially if you've been on an aircraft carrier and you know how to work the catapult, and it says recommended 4 credit hours in hydraulics or pneumatics area at our level, and then they can, you go over and you can see them on the machine. You can tell whether they know it or not. You can give them credit for that class. That happens a lot, and then even the ones that have been in the electrical and avionics, they've had that AC and DC, and you can give them credit for some or all of that if they know
wonderful.
it. Yeah. So we do a fair amount of that with those people who qualify.
Have we got a lot of veterans?
I know in the past 16 years, it's probably had 15. I can almost name the people who did get credit for 1, 2, or 3 or 4 classes in that.
That is great.
Yeah. And you can tell. You go over there, you kind of tell. The paper says it, but you can go over there and put them on a hydraulic trainer, and if they, say, okay, set me up a simple system, if they do it just like that,
Okay. I don't need to teach him this.
But let me say this: a lot of them are also want experience in mechanical, and also want welders. So we have students who also take as some of their electives welding, or they may have already finished welding and come over and finish this program, and they have the welding. There's been a fair amount of that. And when I say welding, I should say welding and joining technology. I don't just mean the old stick welding.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm talking about MIG and TIG and aluminum and stainless welding, and there are some real specialties.
Right.
Overhead and all of the different types of welding. So,
well, Mr. Biaggi, we're done with our first block. Let's talk about the future in the second block, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, and we'll be right back.
We voted. I voted. I voted. I voted.
I voted.
We voted. Woo!
Hey, I'm Barbie Watts with Downtown LaGrange Development Authority, encouraging you to cast a vote and help us win a $100,000 grant for LaGrange's dog park. You can cast 2 votes a day at petsafe.com or the Facebook page for PetSafe. Let's win this thing.
I voted. I voted.
I voted.
We voted.
Yay, I voted.
welcome back to Tech Savvy. This is a great program, I think, because Mr. Biaggi and I have such a good time talking about what industry is looking for in their skilled workforce, because we are teaching them what they need to know, and we're working very closely with the business and industries in our area. Before we get started about what we've got going on and what we have to look forward to, I want to make sure that our viewers know about the governor's Strategic Industry Workforce Development Grant. They are giving extra funds toward tuition in specific industries like we've got CIS networking, diesel equipment, early childhood care, practical nursing, surgical technology, and welding and joining technology. So these are classes, these are programs that should you enroll in these, they will give you additional funds toward your tuition. And it's because there's such a growing demand for these particular jobs, and they need more people in those jobs to fill the positions that they see in the future that might be a problem if we don't fill those positions. And this is along with all the other ones that they have offered in the past, and that includes truck driving, includes all kinds of healthcare programs. We've also, well, all the welding, PC repair and technology, all these areas are in high demand, and so the governor wants these strategic industries, they want skilled workers for these strategic industries. So for more information about this, please go to our website, www.westgatech.edu, for more information. Also, Mr. Biaggi and I are real excited about, the governor has decided that he feels like there should be more funds to renovate our labs, because, especially in our industrial area, because technology continues to advance continually, awesome, every day, all the time. And in order to keep up with what our industries need, we need the funds to upgrade our lab. So the governor gave, I think, TCSG about $12.5 million, and a little over $2 million is actually coming to West Georgia Tech, which doesn't put us real popular with the rest of the technical colleges, but it's because we have not upgraded our labs in such a long time. We are able to teach our classes, and we're able to really do a lot of amazing things with what we have. The students are certainly ready to go to work, and they are fitting right in the industries, but we need more updated equipment to match the technology, and in my opinion, stay ahead of technology.
Oh, that's right. You know, and I'd have to say this, that I'm really proud of what our students have done with equipment that's 10 and 12 and 15 years old, and a lot of it much newer. But those units have, it may sound like a lot of money, but you're talking about trainers that you keep for 20 to 25 years on the basics. You might upgrade to PLCs and some of the electronics to them, but I'm really proud. But it is our turn.
It's our turn.
We're ready. So
and I
it's
think
been
we've
good.
had some serious support in Atlanta at the Capitol and in the legislature from our local industries to say, we're worried about our future. We're worried about our production in future years. We need skilled workers, and they need to be trained on the latest and greatest equipment.
And right here in this area, we have so many industries. You know, those tied to the automotive industry, and then we have all the 9-volt batteries that you find in the United States are made in LaGrange, Georgia, and then we have aluminum slitter and packager in Trinidad Benham, and Jindal Plastics, and all the Milliken, and all the interface, and we have people in every plant that you can imagine.
And the thing about it is not just those industries, but we have all the support industries for those industries that we have to keep the support personnel up to date.
I mean, everything, just like you mentioned, CDL, I mean, everything moves, so much of that moves by truck. And of course, we have rail. We have a new company that's going to be hiring with the Babcock warehouse, and all of that. And you take something like Walmart Distribution Center, there's so much electronics in there. And they have there must be 10 of our graduates there now, and our current students as well. So, I mean, it's just everywhere.
So if you want a good job with a future in a stable industry such as manufacturing, this is where you need to go first.
Right.
All right, well, Mr. Biaggi, tell me what your wish list looks like about this money.
Well, you know, I was looking at, you go something as, the basic is the mechanical trainers, and we have some, and they've been good, but, you know, they are all industrial components, but after they're used 80 to 100 different times, taking a motor apart and put it back together, you know, it's not, a real motor in lifetime in a plant doesn't have that. So they get a little worn and they get and then threads will get stripped. So it's just part of learning on that. So we're getting 2 to 4 of the new, you know, all mechanical training. We're talking about V-belts and drives and motors and
Motor
all
controls,
of that, kind of the shafting, alignment, laser alignment, all that good stuff. Then in the hydraulics and pneumatics, once again, on the hydraulic hoses, when you hook them up and take them apart for 20 years and do that 1,000 times, they get a little more worn than in normal use.
Right,
and so
right.
it's about time to have a nice new mechanical and pneumatic major
I think
trainer.
about hydraulics and
Yeah.
pneumatics. Hydraulics is
So
fluid.
they're all fluid power. They're all fluid
All
power.
fluid.
Hydraulics is liquid.
And pneumatics
and
air.
is gas.
Gas.
Well, and air is gas.
Okay.
But mainly it is air.
Right,
air,
right,
compressed
right.
air.
And so
Yeah.
I think about what causes lifts, like to move equipment up. That would be
Okay.
hydraulics.
Yeah, and most of it's hydraulics if it's after a certain weight, but there's a tremendous amount of air cylinders, operating units, and flippers, and kicking things out and moving a component a few feet.
And the
all that kind of
process
stuff.
control, right?
Well, right, and then that is liquid die making for Milliken. That's, you know, you have to get it just right. So you have die lots that match and all that. It's also in the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry and
Like it goes on when the temperature gets a certain mark, and it comes
All
off
that.
when it gets too hot.
Right, and then the amount of liquids and how fast it flows and the rate and all that. Really critical in pharmaceutical businesses.
Right.
So if you get something too hot, you've got a different drug in the end process.
We
So,
got to control
anyway,
that. Mhm.
And then programmable logic controllers and being able
run
to
the
write
world.
ladder logic. That's the way it is. And then for simplification for people that aren't familiar, I grew up on tractors that you would work remote cylinders by hand, and you would work hydraulic in a plant years ago, all by hand. But if you can work those with servo controls and have those in a logical sequence, then you know, program it in, and then you download it to the computer, and it sends a signal and works a solenoid to work those. I mean, the big Caterpillar equipment and all that uses all that internally.
This is the point that I think needs to be made. It's just the bottom foundation point that so many of our potential students, and I say potential because they don't understand that manufacturing is not the gauges and the pulls and all this now. It's computerized, and
Right.
it's clean, and it's
Yeah,
quality
that's
control.
Yeah.
It's so different from the old
right.
what you used to use in industry.
And then you have to understand that some people just really want to stay mechanical, and for that there are all kinds of things, or maybe they're, you know, maybe it's just not their interest. And then some are strictly want to do, but they all work together. We have some students that are strong, and when they get together, that synergy gets things done.
It's exciting to watch it when your students get together working on a project.
Right.
It really is a lot of fun.
But then you get into, for example, to really understand the PLCs and all that, you really prefer to already had your AC, DC, and solid state to understand. So you have an understanding of what solid state transistor. You know, I grew up because transistor. Anyway,
They're
solid
not
state.
transistors anymore.
Well, there are transistors and thyristors and resistors, and there's all kinds of stuff.
They're not DVDs
but it's
or
all
something?
solid state. The transistor is electron flow in the solid state rather than in a vacuum tube. Are you old enough to remember a vacuum tube?
no, I
got
don't.
some in the office. I'll show you.
No.
All right, but anyway, that's where we need to be. And at that end, we're going to have 8 new stations with all the latest, all that, with it all on programs and screens where you can really get that. We also do a lot of breadboard. You need a tactile feel. You know, you have to be careful. There's a tremendous need for a lot of the online doing that. But if you don't physically feel putting 2 hydraulic or pneumatic lines together, you know, and tighten.
Right.
You have to have both.
Right,
I mean,
right,
so it can't
right.
all be one way or the other. So.
I think the one thing that I am looking forward to for all this equipment is you will have eventually a production line.
Yes.
That, I mean, the whole,
Right.
there's one unit, or it's lots of little units put together.
Right.
But in each unit, it's going to have process control, it's going to have PLCs, it's going to have, is it going to
Right.
do robotics?
Right. Almost. And then what you do is you go in there and say, I want you to move 5 of these down here at a rate of 5 per second, and then give a delay time here, and then move it over to this place to be machined, and it's a whole.
And you'll make a widget, won't you?
Well, yeah, you can do a number of different things with it.
Uh-huh.
You can make a little nameplate that says West Georgia Tech or Ms. Newman or whatever you want to say.
So you just to tell it with the equipment and the supplies and
but
everything.
these are real a piece of equipment. You know, nothing wrong with Legos, but these aren't Legos. These are real, same thing you'll see in an assembly plant.
Right,
You know,
right.
the same cylinders, the same air, all that real stuff.
Well, a lot of this equipment is what's in the training center for Kia, right?
Yes, there's a tremendous amount of equipment there that we want to be able to integrate, articulate with that same equipment.
Right, and I think that's in the near future. We will have a program that will be specific for the automotive industry in the manufacturing process.
I'm going to say this too, something we don't mention. There is a tremendous amount of mold processing, and when I'm talking about, you know, making the door panels, making the dash panels, making the any of the injection molded door panels. We have several students working over at Haniliwa right now.
Right.
You know, 40,000 pound molds under. And I'm talking about there's pressure, and then there's these things weigh that much, and then they have 80 and 100,000 pounds pressure, and then come out and make a. That's one area that really needs some specialists, and that's a real fine art subdivision of welding and repair and all that, and that's in real demand. If somebody wants to get into learning that's just like a sculptor. I mean, that's a real artistic thing almost. So, and there's a demand for that.
Well, I think there's a great demand for all our graduates in your area, and I'm very proud to have you here today and to talk about it. Will you come back and talk to us again, and maybe next time bring one of your students?
Yes, we can do that. We can we'll schedule for that. It's a little bit quieter in the summer. It's been busy this summer, but we'll have a huge crowd in the fall.
Good. Looking forward to it. And maybe we'll take a tour and put it on.
Oh, that would be
show.
good too.
That would be fun when we get our new equipment. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Biaggi. I love having you on here because I learned so much, and this is going to be a fun project, getting this new lab put together. And that's it for today. We'll see you on the next episode of Tech Savvy.
I voted.
My dad voted.
I voted. Our mama voted.
I voted.
Have you voted?
I'm Jim Thornton, Mayor of LaGrange, and I'd like to encourage you to vote for the Pet Safe Dog Park Grant. You can vote twice a day, once at petsafe.net and once on PetSafe's Facebook page. Let's win this, LaGrange.
Please vote.
I voted.
Have you voted?
I voted.